President and CEO of Rivers of Steel, which is a nonprofit that is based in the Mon Valley and supporting the communities and historic areas in the region.
Thanks so much for taking the time to connect with me today in advance of AISTech and the tour that you'll be hosting for our conference attendees on Thursday the 7th. We're excited to give our listeners a sneak peek into the history of your site and showcase what makes it so special. Rivers of Steel is leading a campaign to preserve and expand the legacy of the Carrie Blast Furnaces. What makes this site such an important piece of American industrial history?
The Pittsburgh region, I didn't hear this until I joined the organization last year, was once referred to, or is currently referred to, as the Silicon Valley of the United States in the early 1900s, which is fascinating because we often think of manufacturing and industrial preservation or industrial communities as grit and not necessarily high tech. But at the time, it was high tech. The Bessemer converter at Edgar Thomson Works 150 years ago was the beginning of the commercialization of steel. Up until that point, it had been on a much smaller scale, and it blossomed in the Mon Valley and created an industrial city that also then fostered arts, education, universities, and the robber baron Gilded Age was created by steel. So that is our legacy and our history, but it's also part of who we are socially and culturally. And so we see the Carrie Furnaces as an opportunity to celebrate that legacy, but also push it forward. The steel industry is growing here with the Nippon acquisition of U.S. Steel. There's a great deal of opportunity to expand operations here and across North America, and we're happy to be preserving a legacy space that represents that culture and that future.
So when Rivers of Steel took stewardship of the Carrie Furnaces in 2010, the site had been inactive for decades. What were some of the biggest preservation challenges your team faced in bringing the site back to life for visitors? And what does this next chapter look like?
Yes, so as you can imagine, Lauren, it is an ever changing, ongoing process. So the site was built in 1884, so 142 years later. There's always something that needs to be stabilized. Obviously, safety first, so we are constantly testing and making sure that things are stable. If they're not, we shut down an area, which is not all that uncommon. We have wonderful contractors like Century Steel and some others, and we have our own maintenance staff that make sure that the site is safe. So that's been going on since we took over the spot. The next phase is to revitalize interior spaces for use as workforce development, arts, programming, rehabbing lots of spaces that locker rooms and things that are just sort of were left exactly the way they were the day it closed, and there's an opportunity to clean those up and make them authentic but much more accessible. A really interesting piece of being an historic landmark is we are bound to preserve some of the original artistry and infrastructure that was created. So rivets are a great example. You can imagine how many hundreds of beams with rivets are on the site. We can't just modernize it and install something new. We have to recreate the actual rivets the way they were actually made in the late 1800s, and that is now an art. So we actually have an expert that comes in from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan every year and trains up our maintenance staff on how to make them so that we can replace them as needed. So it's a long but fascinating process that is as much about stabilization as it is art. We will also be building a new building that will accommodate a lot of our programming while we are revitalizing the two original buildings. We also have plans to develop the riverfront. so that it can be accessible.
Lots of projects to come, very exciting developments. Historians at Rivers of Steel have confirmed the identity of the woman behind the furnace's name, Carolyn or Carrie Bell Clark. Can you talk about the research that led to that confirmation, as well as Rivers of Steel's ongoing campaign to find a photo of her?
Yes, it's been such a great story. So we have a very rich archive. It's amazing how many people have come to us and given us, donated legacy materials from their grandparents or their great-grandparents or their father or their uncle, all kinds of just amazing things. So you may not know this, I did not until recently, but furnaces or mills were often named for women in the families of the owners. So you might have heard of Dorothy Six, which is a mill in Duquesne. The Eliza Furnace was on the north side. The Isabella was in Etna. Carrie was the cousin of the Phones brothers. They owned the Carrie Furnaces before they sold it to Carnegie. The Phones cousin, and what we've been able to find from our research in the archives was that she was probably the most prominent and the old, the most, she wasn't old, she died at 25, but the matriarch of the family, so to speak. They did not have sisters, and I think their mother passed away. So Carrie was who it's named for. She was married. Unfortunately, died young at 25. We don't know why or how. She is buried in Homewood Cemetery in Point Breeze, and she was raised in the Point Breeze neighborhood near the corner of Penn and South Dallas. So that's who she was.
It was so neat. Really exciting that you were able to uncover that piece of history for the Carrie Furnaces, and we hope that we can help play a small part in spreading the word to keep the search for her photo alive, and maybe by the time this interview airs, we'll have a photo of her. We'll see.
That would be fabulous. She spent so much of her life in this region. She did live in New York for a bit after she got married. She went to Vassar College and then met somebody that was from New York, and they stayed there, but she spent a lot of time here. So it could be a picture of her as a young girl, it could be a picture of her as a teenager, but do some digging, let's find it.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mary, for your time this afternoon. We're excited to be able to learn more about the Carrie Furnaces and all the history embedded in that site, and we are excited that some of our AISTech attendees get to tour it this week. So thank you again, and we'll see you for the tour.
We look forward to welcoming you on Thursday. Thanks for having me.